Hello, hello, hello. Happy Monday, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Amplify Your Brilliance Mondays, where I give you the tools to grow your faith as you activate your purpose into multiple revenue streams as a business. I'm excited to be here with you to just continue to pour into you. So, with that, our topic for today is shut up and drive. Shut up and drive. And I know you're like, why is she saying that, right? So by the way, as you come in, those of you that are watching live, come on in, tell me name and tell me where you're joining from, right? And the other thing I like to ask you to do is you're coming in, tell me value you get, post questions as I share, right? So today is really episode number 10, and it's kind of a culmination of a conversation I've been having with you. So I'm trying to make sure my comments are coming up. I'm also, if you see me looking to the side, that means I'm looking at my iPad because sometimes it works in here, sometimes it doesn't, right? So if you've been missing any of the episodes that I've been sharing with you, I want to encourage you to go back and watch them. They are on my YouTube channel, which you can find at nrjnetwork.com. So I'm going to summarize kind of the conversation I've had with you over the last few weeks. So since week 6, we've been in kind of a conversation. Listen, let me just say this. Hey, Renata, I see you, girl. So first, it's March. By now, most people have totally forgot their New Year's resolutions. They're either fully in it or fully have given up. And my question to you is, where are you on the goals you set for yourself in 2021? And so really, this conversation is a culmination of the work we've been doing. And you guys know when I look down, I'm looking at my notes, right? So week 6, we talked about the script is key to the entire process, or episode 6, I should say. And really looking at a heightened conversation around a vision board. Then episode 7, we looked at it's like a boomerang, and we talked about your mindset. It's one thing to have a plan. It's another thing to get your mind in alignment with where you're going, because your mind can't be going this way and your plan going this way, 2 different directions. So you've really got to understand what you think about, you bring about. That's episode 7. Then episode 8, I talked about what are you going to do with it? And we looked at making a plan, because you can talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. But until you set an action plan to make it happen, it's not going to happen. And then last week, I talked to you about asking for directions, because just because you have a plan does not mean you know how to do it. So now it's time to shut up and drive, right? I said, man, your turn's early, right? That literally. And so as I was thinking about what I was going to share with you all tonight, and as I was really praying about it, let me tell you what popped in, not even my mind and my eyesight. So I have this framed in my office. This is my very first business card. Can you guys see that? So my father passed away in 2014. I was cleaning out the house I grew up in. And my father kept everything. That's the very first business card I ever got. So yes, I worked at BET. So let me tell you guys, when I was in college, my dream was always to work at BET. I'm from California. I lived in California, and BET was based in DC at the time. So I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was determined I was going to work at BET. By the time I graduated from college, BET had its first office in Hollywood. Actually, it was in the Valley, as we would say in California, which was in Burbank. And so I remember making the call the summer between, it was the end of my junior year, going into my senior year. I made the call to BET to try to get a summer internship. And when they told me, well, we're not taking interns, I said, wait a minute, but you haven't met me. Bold, right? You haven't met me. And so as I was thinking about it, I started thinking about how nothing was going to stop me from going after my goal. I said to her, you haven't met me and I'm free. Why would you turn down free work? Someone that will work harder than anybody you're paying, that will work all summer for free. At least let me come in and meet you. So I came to LA rather. I went to school in San Diego. I'm from LA, drove home, went to an interview and got hired as an intern. And let me tell you, baby, I worked so hard that summer, they offered me a job by the end of that summer. Now, why am I sharing that with you? Because literally that began the trajectory of all the phenomenal jobs I had in entertainment. I never applied for a job, never, not one time. I kept getting referred because I worked really, really hard. So when I talk about driving, and when I look at what's possible for you and even me, because the thing I know for sure is every move I've made in my business, every move I've made in my career has been because I have been willing to drive and willing to do whatever it took to get to where I knew I was meant to be. So I'm going to give you 3 steps tonight. And tonight's not going to be a long one. It's going to be short and effective, because now it's time for you to drive. It's time for you to stop talking about it and dare I even say praying about it, because faith without works is dead. Hey, Frida. So my question to you is, what are you going to do to be about it? That is a conversation for tonight, because you can have plans, you can hire a coach, you can do all of that stuff, and you need it all. Keep in mind everything I've taught you. So again, if you missed any of those episodes, I want to encourage you to go back and watch them. They will bless you. My goal is to give you tools and strategy, right? So with that said, my allergies are acting crazy tonight. With that said, I want you guys to get now, once you hire a coach, once you have a plan in place, once you have the clarity you need, it's time for you to activate and do it. So I'm going to give you the 3 P's you've got to do. That's true, right, Frida? I want to give you the 3 P's that you've got to do to shut up and drive. And by the way, you know, that song is a song by Rihanna. I looked up the lyrics thinking that I was going to be able to say some snazzy something about the lyrics, and the lyrics ain't nothing near, right? It's more talking about sex. Let me just keep it all the way real. But every time I think about what I'm teaching you, that song keeps playing in my head. And it's not the whole song. It's just the shut up and drive, right? And I can't sing. So because of that is why I called today's topic shut up and drive. So the first P you've got to do is perform. You've got to do it. You've got to act it out. Listen, there's a Bible verse, Romans 12:2, that says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Sometimes, and one of these things are probably happening to you, when you have these goals, your past starts to tell you, who do you think you are? And people are going to find out that this, that, and the other about you. Or you're not smart enough, or you're not good enough. I remember that summer in 1990, dang, I'm aging myself now, when I went in to tell my now mentor that you need to hire me, I was fully knowing that I was the bomb.com, that I worked harder than anybody else. Listen, I have been working at the TV station on my campus for 3 years. I had moved up from production assistant to floor director. So every TV show they had, I directed everything on that floor in college. So I wasn't full of myself, I would say, but I was confident because I knew how hard I worked, and I kept getting raises. Then they offered me to be on air. I was horrible, by the way, on air. Ooh, if y'all saw that video. Back then, right? God knew I was going to get here at some point. So I want you to understand that I was performing. I knew what I was capable of, and nothing was going to stop me. My question to you is, are you acting out the full activation of your gifts? By the way, that's my whole notion around fierce. Those of you that haven't heard why I call finding your purpose, finding your fierce, let me tell you the story really quickly. A couple years ago, I was watching Beyonce, and you know, I try to be nice and say I was hating on her just a little bit, but I was having a full-on jealous moment. And as I was watching Beyonce, what dropped in my spirit is, you have fierce too. I'm like, okay, I know this ain't God talking to me while I'm watching Beyonce, right? But what I began to realize is that Beyonce created Sasha Fierce at a time that she was being called into her next level. And for many of you, you're in that place right now. God is calling you to do more and be more, and it's scary. And so for Beyonce, it was scary too. She had been all up until that point in her career, she had been on stage with 3 sometimes other women, young women. And now she had to stand on stage alone. But the one thing that was constant was her gift. And so I want you to really think about, what would life look like? Not just for you, but all the people that need that gift in you when you stand in the full power of your gift, when you perform, when you stop caring about perception or public opinion, other P, perception, and you do you 100%, not 5%, not 10%. Listen, when you give 100% of that gift and that talent in you, that's what I'm talking about when I talk about perform. That's who I was that day on the phone with my now mentor. Well, calling BET, calling cold. I had sent a resume. Nobody was replying, but I was determined, which moves to number 2. You've got to pursue it. Listen, there's momentum in movement. So if you keep praying about it, but you're doing nothing about it, there's no momentum present. And God only works with momentum. See, God planted a seed in you at birth. He's not going to water it. Not. That seed is your DNA, your distinct natural ability. All the things you want, all the things you desire, all the things you've been praying about are all in alignment with that DNA he already placed in you. How do I know? Because you wouldn't want it if it had nothing to do with that gift in you. You wouldn't be good at it if it had nothing to do with that gift in you. And if you want something that has nothing to do with your gift, then honey, you in the wrong lane. I said it, right? So you've got to be willing to be aggressive and pursue it. It's kind of like how many of you guys have ever been to New York? And some of you guys, well, Renata, you live in New York, right? And those of you that have never been to New York, you've seen cab drivers on TV shows in New York. Those drivers are aggressive. I live in Boston. The driving is just about the same. So I remember when I first moved here, having to learn how to drive on the East Coast. I couldn't be neat and nice. I had to be willing to focus on where I wanted to go and maneuver. If that means I got to just get over real quick, and it drives my husband crazy. But I had to learn how to drive here. I could sit on the sidelines and wait for people, or I could get used to it and understand how I needed to be able to do it. You guys get that? You have to be a defensive driver, exactly. But you got to stay in motion. If you stop, if you pull over, you'll get hit. Right? Y'all get that? And so number one, you've got to perform. You've got to be willing to play full out. Not at 5%, full out. Have you ever seen a dancer dance just a little bit? Have you ever seen any basketball player you love or football player? Do you see them play a little bit? They play full out. That's perform. The second, you've got to pursue it. So for me, that day in the spring of 1990, I was pursuing that BET internship with all I had. I was not going to take no for an answer. I know I know she thought I was crazy, but I was like, listen, just meet me. You don't say yes, just let me come in and meet with you. And even when I met her, I said, I'll go get coffee. I'll go pick up dry cleaning. I was determined I was going to get in the door because I knew if I got in the door, which is me pursuing it, that I would perform enough. And I did, and I got a job offer. Okay. Which leads to number 3, you've got to persist. Now, this is where I see so many people give up because things get hard. So they think, oh, I'm not supposed to do it. That's not real. Or they think, oh, well, I'm not sure. See, the thing I want you to get is you could be interested in something or committed. And I know I talked about this on a previous episode, but I think it bears repeating here. When you're interested, any excuse that comes, you will quit. You will let anything get in your way. But when you are committed, nothing will stop you. You throw every other option off the table. And for some of you, you're not persistent. You quit as soon as it gets hard. When I look at people like Oprah, and many people forget that her cable network failed. She had a phenomenal TV show for 25 years, but Oprah had this rumble for more in her too, right? And so that more included her starting a TV show. And when started a TV network. And when she started her network, it failed. Do you guys remember that? I'm sure all our friends said, girl, go back to the Oprah show. She persisted. She was determined, right? Another example I love about persistence is Jennifer Hudson. Now, how many of you guys remember her from American Idol? She came in 3rd place on American Idol. See, so many people would have given up on their dream like, oh, I didn't make it. Oh, I didn't make it. But see, had she quit, she would have never gotten to Dreamgirls. And so you've got to understand that there are things that God is working out for your good, but you've got to persist when the going gets hard. That's why everybody doesn't get to a certain level of success, because most people quit, but not you. You can't be that girl that quits. You can't be that woman that gives up. You can't be that woman that allows everything to knock you down and not get back up. So because Jennifer Hudson didn't give up on her dream, because she persisted, because she pursued it and she performed, Dreamgirls came and she won an Academy Award. Hello. And look at her now. So my question to you is this March 8th of this year, we're now into the second month, and we're still in the first quarter. Where have you not performed at 100% in the goals and desires that you have? Where have you not pursued it with all that you got? And even finding the support you need so you can pursue it? Where have you not persisted and given up? See, oftentimes I believe the enemy comes to make you give up because he knows how many people you will bless when you do the thing that you were created to do. So it's not going to be easy. Anything great is never easy. Matter of fact, your conviction and your comfort should never coexist. See, if you're comfortable, that means you want things to be easy. You only want it to be convenient. You want it to be, that means you're only interested. I just talked about that a minute ago, right? And so that's our conversation for today. As I wrap up this series that we've been in, keep your eyes on the prize, right? I started it in week 4 or week 5 rather. So next week, we're going to start a whole nother conversation. It's a conversation that you need. I'll tell you about that next week. But I really want you to take some time to get clear on where you are and where you're stuck. If you guys have questions, bring them to these lives. I'm happy to answer your questions live, right? So as I do every week, I give you reflection work. Because listen, there is a formula called be, do, have. And if we stay in do and do and do, we never sit in our being, you'll look up and you will have left yourself behind. So your business can never outgrow your mindset. So these quick conversations I have with you on Monday are all about growing your mindset, growing who you be, growing how you pour into you so that you can serve more and be more and do more. See, the one thing I know for sure is you can never give from an empty cup. And so you've got to pour more into you. And so when I give you these worksheets, it's an opportunity for you for the week to sit with it. See, I could give you a daily one, but listen, I'd rather give you one conversation that you can sit with the whole week and let it just sit in your soul and check in with yourself and see where you are. And then some of it, you might even need to check in with your days to see how you're performing or persisting or pursuing. Or are you letting phobia, I guess some other piece for you, phobia is fear, or perception, or your past, come on, peas in my head, right? Keep you from what's possible for you. No more. I'm here as your sister friend to call that thing out, to tell you that God wants so much more for you, but you've got to be willing to perform, to persist, and to pursue. And so any place you're stuck in those 3, please post here. Come on back. Even if you're watching the replay, listen, I read every single comment. My goal is to be no less than 30 minutes every Monday and give you insight, to keep you encouraged, to keep you in the work. Because I know how hard it is when God has something heavy on your spirit for you to do. And listen, all of us are called. You don't have to be in a pulpit to be called. You don't have to work inside the walls of a church to be called. Let's be clear. We all have a calling. And it's my calling in this thing called life to make sure you get in alignment with the assignment that God has placed on you. And that's why I come here every Monday to just give you a little a soul alignment, right? And somehow it pops up through the day for me to ponder. Listen, I'm going to put this up. Renata said, somehow it pops up throughout the day for me to ponder more on it. Love the journal work. Yes. And let me tell you, that's not somehow, that's called God. See, God wants for you more than you could even desire for yourself. And as you start to pursue it, oh, he'll meet you there. But if you do nothing, he'll do nothing. See, he invests at the level that you invest. I've seen it happen in my own life, even with that BET thing. I'm sure my mentor wanted to say no. Her name is Lattice, wanted to say no. I'm sure. I even still talk to a lot of the people that I worked with at BET. That was in the 90s. There were 3 people I still talk to a lot, right? Well, not a lot, but a good deal considering that was, that 30-something years ago. Jesus, how old am I, right? So I want you to get that all things work together for the good. But the question is, are you willing to work for it? So that's it for tonight. We start another series next week. I'm excited about all that you all are doing. Please share. Now, do me a favor. Number 1, will you share? If you're getting value from these conversations, will you, at the button below, even if you're on YouTube, you can still share it, right? So if you're watching me on YouTube, you can share it from there. But if you're here on Facebook, click the button below and share it, because you don't know how this will bless other women in your tribe. The second thing I want you to do is give me insight. Share with me value you're getting. Share with me questions you have. If there are topics you want me to discuss, share that here in the comments too, because I'm here for you. I want these conversations to bless you on Mondays. So please share, right? So with that said, your assignment for today, share one takeaway. And then what I'll do is, as I always do, I will put your homework, your journal work in My Facebook group. And why do I put it in my Facebook group? Because I want the woman that's willing to take action. Here we go with the pursuit. So in order to join my Facebook group, it's going to ask you questions. If you don't answer the questions, it's not going to permit you to join. All right. So with that said, ladies, that's it for this episode of Amplify Your Brains Monday. Please, again, share insight, share with your tribe. Tell me value you're getting. Add questions. I intend on adopting the 3 Ps. Right. And guess what, Renata? We got more. So Renata's coming to my 2-day intensive. I do twice a year. Be the answer. So Renata, girl, we got so much more we're going to do together this weekend, right? So with that said, y'all, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. Continue to share your comments, share your insight, share the nuggets you're getting, and share this with your tribe, all right? So I'll be here next Monday. We'll start another conversation here in Amplify Your Brains Monday. Theme 3 already for 2021. All right. So with that, 7 p.m., join me next Monday. I'll see y'all then. Have a phenomenal week. Bye, y'all.